Yeah. Hi. Dino is on. Say hi,
Hello.
everyone. Okay, let me just lower the volume here. Okay. Hi, introduce yourself. So yeah, Dino, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate you accepting my request for you to be a guest on my show. So this is an honor.
My pleasure, Christine. It's actually good to be on here after I've watched a few of your lives as well. So really, really exciting.
Yeah, so Dino, I know, I started seeing your posts because then, you have 100,000 followers, and then people are always, commenting, and you're always showing up on my home feed. I'm like, who's this Dino? And so I start checking you out, and then I think I was kind of hinting on you. It's like, oh yeah, I hope you can be my live guest soon. I was just kind of like, putting it out there, and then later on, I was like, why do I connect with Dino? And then, but I wasn't sure if you're gonna accept me because you had 100,000 followers, but so I was so honored when you finally accepted. So we start chatting, and also, so yeah, so Dino, before I want to make sure that I accurately introduce you. Why don't you introduce yourself, Dino? Like pretend half of my audience don't know you. So who's Dino?
Okay, so geez, it's such an easy question, but such a long answer I could go on. So I'll keep it short, Christine. So listen, I've been in finance and banking for the last 16, 17 years. Worked over the last 8, 9 years as a business development manager, but as well as that being a passion of mine, a passion is around networking, and I love meeting new people. And I know a lot of people do, particularly that come across LinkedIn and other social platforms. It becomes a bit of a driver for them, and I'm no different, so I'm nothing special, but that's really exciting from that aspect. And then my other couple of passions that I have is obviously from the social media comes the branding, and I love people. I love seeing people succeed across different platforms, Christine, and when they get success of what they're doing and the investment they do off the platforms, that's really exciting, and I love doing that. And then my last passion that's outside of, I suppose, work is my football or my soccer, depending on which country you're in. So that's maybe a side passion of mine, which I love watching.
Okay, cool. Okay, so now you have 100. Actually, before we get to LinkedIn, so what other social media platform are you on? Because like on Instagram, you have a high follow, a few thousand followers there, and then I'm like literally just starting there. I only have almost 700, and then on YouTube, you have over 1,000 followers too, right? And then you're like, what other social media platform are you on now?
Yeah, just the main ones. so
Okay.
LinkedIn, Instagram, they were on Facebook,
Okay.
Twitter, but I use that probably more just to keep up with some news that may not be coming across different
Mm-hmm.
platforms, or some quick news that
Okay.
you want to grab. And then, as you mentioned, YouTube, Christine. YouTube's my new baby,
Okay.
as I've mentioned to people. So I've only really started investing time, even though I've had it for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
But it's only been the last 2 months that I've really invested heavily and started learning how that platform works in comparison to LinkedIn and Instagram.
Got it. Got it. Okay, so among all of that, where were you first? Like, what was the order of that you went on LinkedIn? I mean, on social media. In what order?
Yeah, it's definitely LinkedIn first.
Okay.
And that's probably my number one social platform of
Mhm.
choice. So
Mhm.
that still is. That hasn't changed.
Mhm.
Then it would have been Instagram, I would say. Then Facebook.
Okay.
Then probably YouTube and Twitter at that
Oh.
stage.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
so it's a
Cool.
little bit different to a lot of people. I was a late adopter of Facebook, so it's probably my least used social platform.
Got it. So when
Mm.
did you started on LinkedIn? Because now you have over 100,000 followers. So I hope I can get there before the end of the year. Let's see. I don't know. So when did you start? And then like how fast was your growth? Like, yeah, I'm just curious because I started I think September, October last year. That's it. So I've been on the platform, for years, but I just haven't been as active till September of last year.
Yeah, mine wasn't a one-hit wonder where we've seen people grow from 20,000 to 200,000 in 6 months. Mine's been a journey of around 6 to 7 years.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's been a longer journey, but I quite like. I've loved my journey because I
Mhm.
suppose the way that I've grown that community and that network, the
Mhm.
way that I've been able to learn from other people and what to do and what works well for them may not work well for me. And I think
Mhm.
that sometimes people get a
Mhm.
probably a little bit upset with the sense, oh, that person's got so many in their network and I don't, and I'm doing the same thing. But the same thing may not work for you as it's working for them. So when
Right.
I first started on LinkedIn, it was all about when I went into a new role in the finance industry, and it was all about broking. So I started my business development journey, and I wanted to showcase what we were doing and all about how to actually get into a broker's business more than just picking up the phone and doing cold calls. So somebody introduced me to LinkedIn, and I haven't looked back about 6.5 years later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I guess like during that time frame, so that was the time we're in, like then Sohai went in, Lorena went in, all those people, and then like Bridget, like when did even Bridget started? Like so you kind of know all these people who've been on the platform for a long time, right?
Yeah, and it's been good to watch them grow. And
Uh-huh.
everyone, and a lot of people probably have one or two niches where I sort of
Mm-hmm.
like to spread the passions a little bit across social and show people a little bit more about me rather than just a corporate person on who I
Got
am.
it.
So
Got
I share a little bit about my family. I share a little bit about my football passion. I share a little bit about broking, finance, money,
it. Mm-hmm.
motivation, mindset. So I like to tackle areas where I know a little bit about Christine and that I've had experience in, but I won't tackle areas where it would be my first time. I'd learn a little bit and learn a little bit from experts and media and whatever it may be, courses, before I started to do posts and videos about them.
Yeah, got it. And then like, you kind of you did it the slow and steady way, you built your audience, and it wasn't through like, I mean, like I'm not trying to say anything against people, but some of the, they're like networking posts now, like comments. So it's like all like they just grow massively because of that. I was actually joking with a friend who always do that daily. It's like, what are you growing? Like what's your brand about? Is your brand about like the networking post? Like then if people follow you because of your networking post, they're not following you because of your brand. What if you stop posting that? It's like, then what? Like then what about what about your post? Like how much engagement are you getting on the post around your brand? Like what is your brand about? So for me, like I do post a networking post once in a blue moon, but not all the time. Like, maybe if I reach like, I don't know, 30K, whatever, some milestone, then I'll do that. But I don't want my brand to be revolving around that, because my brand is about financial coaching, about money. I like to talk about money mindset. So it's all mainly on that one. So yeah, that's cool. So let's talk about like YouTube. I'm curious about YouTube. Now it's like you're slowly pushing people to YouTube and stuff like that. So why YouTube instead of LinkedIn?
Inviting, Christine, inviting.
Oh, invite inviting. Okay. Yes, not pushing, inviting.
inviting.
Yes, yes.
Come.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So I actually, it's not, I mean, I am on YouTube in the sense that this is streaming on YouTube too, but I literally only have, last time I checked, it was 56 followers. So I don't I don't know what to do about YouTube. There's this, anyone knows how to grow, then that's good. But I just feel like being on YouTube, you have to be good at video editing. Like people judge you more because then it's all video. So it has to be nicer versus just a raw video. I don't know if a raw video will do well. So yeah,
Yeah.
what's your experience there?
Yeah, you're right. Listen, you need to be good at editing. You need to be good at capturing that initial attention. So the YouTube thumbnails need to be, I suppose, eye catchy. Is the text on there enough for me to click on and watch 5 or 6 seconds of that first video to say, okay, let me watch a little bit more. So yes, the editing does need to be a little bit more high level than other social platforms, because I think there's the expectation of that on YouTube, and it's something that I need to get better at. I'm no technical whiz when it comes to editing video, so mine still seem a little bit raw, but I'm trying to add more of that context around that value piece through the messaging of my videos rather than the editing scope of it. So I'm trying to balance it out a little bit and have more value and maybe less editing to a professional standpoint. But it takes time. It takes a lot more time to create the videos. Like if you want to do dual cam or 3 cam, or have someone follow you, do some rolling images, do a voiceover. So the editing piece takes a lot longer than when you're posting something on LinkedIn, particularly if you want to do LinkedIn and get most traction. You might only do a 45 to 60-second video outside of the lives. And then you want to ensure that your description as well has the right keywords for the SEO.
Wow.
It has the right hashtags. Even when I went back probably 8-9 weeks ago and I started on YouTube, I followed a few people with some large audiences that were in my area. So finance, money, mindset, coaching, football. and I watched what they did when they first posted. Well, I had a look at their descriptions, I had a look at their videos, had a look who was commenting on them, and then it was all about that engagement piece. And so I took what I know off LinkedIn, and I thought, well, let's go and engage through people on YouTube, and let's see if that works and drives people to my channel. And I think if your channel is set up as best as it can be, so same as LinkedIn, you've got your background, you've got your profile, your headlines there, your summary, it all flows. So I spent a bit of time in creating as best as I could do, changed a few of the thumbnails to the most recent videos, created playlists. So all my finance videos are in one, all my sales videos are in one umbrella, and so on and so on. The personal brandings are all there, so people can, without having to flick through 61 videos or 62 videos, however many they're on now, they can go to a playlist and go, okay, I just want to listen to Dino talk about branding and learn something. I'll just go to that playlist. Or I want to listen to talk about finance. There's a whole playlist on finance. And that is the way you need to actually structure that YouTube channel. So you need the time on it. And even so, I've only got, there's 1,500 subscribers that have come to the channel, and that's grown by about 1,000 over the last 8 weeks. But even that's been, it's taken time to learn, Christine. It's not a quick fix YouTube by any stretch of the imagination. But I'm enjoying that platform because you see things on there where you can't see on Instagram, and you potentially can't see on LinkedIn, particularly if it's longer than 8 or 9 or 10 minutes, and people don't want to share that on a native feed.
Got it. So you're saying that the main concept of building a community on LinkedIn, you engaging, liking, and then you're actually very good at engaging. You reply to all comments. You're on top of your DM, and so some big people with huge followings sometimes they just don't keep up, or they hire a VA or something. So it's like, so I think you're still doing pretty good about that. So you're saying that same concept, if you apply that on YouTube, that to comment, engage on other videos, that's kind of the same concept of building up and then pulling them to come to your channel.
Yeah, I think I've taken the approach of that. How can you get people to your channel or to your profile or to your page? And a lot of that's around that engagement piece. So if you're leaving some thought-provoking comments, then it just triggers that in somebody's mind going, hey, that sounds pretty good. Let me go find out what this person's all about. Similar to what you were saying about me. You wanted to find out a little bit, which was great. So automatically you go to my profile before you'd message me. It's the same as if we met face-to-face, Christine, and we had a coffee and we caught up for half an hour, and you thought, Dino's actually pretty cool. I'd like to actually get to know more about what he does and his business, because there's a correlation that we can work together or do something together or even build a friendship together. And then you go, I'll actually call him again next week. And I suppose flip that on its head to when it comes to social media, it may not be a week, it may be 1 minute that you've seen somebody's post and you go, now I'm going to click on their profile and channel and have a look. And that's the beauty of having a great profile page or channel set up where people can go, that even looks cooler than what I've seen in the post. Now I want to dig a little bit deeper. And as soon as you've given people the opportunity to do that, I think that's where your branding comes into play. But Christine, when you were talking about comments, I can't respond to all comments. So I do what I can.
Okay.
It gets difficult, but I'll be honest, I can't get to every single comment. But if there is a question in the comment, I will always respond to that. I think that is the critical piece of social as well. So you can be, if somebody's writing just a thank you or, hey, this is a great post, and then you have 50 other comments that are questions, you may be going, hey, listen, those 50 other comments, people are asking a question, not leaving an actual comment or a thought on there. So sometimes you'll need to pick it depending on your comment levels on where you sit. But look at it in the same point as if you were sitting with a group of people in a meeting face-to-face. If someone said thanks, you'd probably go, hey, no problems. But if somebody said, hey, Christine, can you tell me about your lives on LinkedIn? A thank you's not going to cut it, right? You need to give them a articulated response.
Got it.
I look at it from that aspect.
Yeah, but at least at the minimum, you like the each of all the comment of people who comment, right? At least just
Correct.
acknowledge them. Okay. Yeah. Sometimes I have a hard time. Like today's post, I did like I think today did pretty well. Like I'm like, oh, I went there's like, oh my god, there's like 10. I mean, like it's a good problem to have. I love it, but there's like then I get tired. Like oh, I want to reply to all comments, but then sometimes you're like, oh my god, there's only so much time I have before I have to jump to another call. So as much as possible, we try to reply like whatever we can. So on Instagram, like you have like how many followers? You have a few thousand followers there, right? On Instagram.
Instagram's probably, I think it's on 15,000 at the moment.
Wow, that's pretty good. I'm still waiting to be 700 followers there. So if you guys are on Instagram, come on, join me. Follow. So
Well,
yeah, so tell me about Instagram. Is it the same concept as LinkedIn as well? You engage
oh,
and then like maybe pull because like I feel like it's harder to grow on Instagram. Like you literally like I mean it's not like LinkedIn, right? You when you connect with someone, then it's automatic connect and follow you. On Instagram, they have to follow you specifically. And then like if you're 15,000 followers, you comment on my post, like it's not like your 15,000 followers is gonna see my content unless you share my content on your story or your
correct,
feed. So it's like,
correct.
what tips can you give people? Like, what has helped you on Instagram build to 15,000 followers? And for newbies trying to grow, like, what tips do you have for them as well?
Yeah. Again, I think the approach that I took on YouTube
Mm-hmm.
probably came a little bit from LinkedIn, but probably came around my Instagram a little bit more. And Christine, I'll
Oh,
be perfectly honest. When I started on the Instagram, it was low and I wasn't getting much traction.
okay.
And back then, I consulted with my daughter, who was my eldest
Oh,
daughter, who's 17 now. She was
okay.
14 at the
Yeah,
time,
yeah,
14, 15. And I said,
yeah.
honey, I said, I'm not getting, my Instagram's not working. She goes, Dad, you're talking about finance and stuff. That's boring. People don't want that on Instagram. People want to see cool shots, awesome pictures, short videos where they
Oh,
haven't seen before. And
yeah,
I go, okay. And I said, but how important then? I said, okay, I get that. And then how important is the story piece? And
yeah,
she goes, most of that demographic, so those
yeah,
millennials, will scroll that way rather than up and down on LinkedIn
yeah.
now, and Instagram. So they'll be going
Okay.
through the story. So she goes, posting those stories, having 3 or 4
Mm-hmm.
little snippets of stories
Mm-hmm.
throughout the day are important because it drags you back to the beginning of that person's story
Mm-hmm.
feed. But she goes, having the right content in there is important. I went, okay. So I did that and was getting a little bit of traction through the stories, and I go, still not working as much. She goes, Dad, how much do you comment on other people's posts? And I go, oh my God, that's what I tell people on LinkedIn. I've got my 15-year-old daughter telling me on Instagram. I'm going, you were kidding me. And I went, how did I miss that? Of course, I want to go support people and then expect to get that back.
Yeah.
So I went, okay, so let's take that approach where let me focus on people with good followers, good comments, and let's have a look. And she gave me an example, Christine, where I'll never forget this one. She goes, Dad, let's pull up. It was Kim Kardashian's one of her posts.
Oh,
She goes, let's have a look at the comments. I went,
yeah, yeah.
okay, why? What am I going to learn about makeup? I said, it's not going to help your dad, right? And she goes, no, but she goes, have a look how many people comment just putting a hi or just putting something about them or putting their motto or their hashtag. I said, why
Yeah.
are people doing that? She goes, people just do it just to grab the attention away from that post and drag it to them.
Yeah.
And I went, okay. I said, how cool would it be if you didn't do that on other people with large networks, but you did it in a way where you can, and again, I've said this before, Christine, it's a way of saying, hey, look at my profile without typing, hey, look at my profile. And you do that in the way that you're leaving engaging, thoughtful comments where people automatically start thinking, I didn't think of looking at my post from that viewpoint. That is pretty cool. Let me go have a look at that person. Once I started picking out 5 or 6 people with those large networks on Insta and leaving comments automatically. So I turned the notifications on. So I got notified as soon as they posted. Went in there, was probably one of the first top 10 to comment. And then left a thought-provoking comment on there. And there I started finding more people was going to my profiles and my impressions from that page started increasing dramatically. So, but I think that strategy works on any platform. And if the platform has the ability to turn on the notification, so you get notified straight away, then there's no harm in getting on there and being in the top 5 comments rather than being the 191st comment where it's probably lost to a degree.
Got it.
That strategy works, and I'm not saying you do it purely just to grow a number, but if you want to grow the right community, then pick those right people where you want to follow and you want to comment on. I didn't want to just comment on Richard Branson's post or Tony Robbins' post and just leave, hey, great post, thank you so much, because there's no value in that. And people might disagree with me, but anyway.
Okay, so you respond to, like, let's say Kim Kardashian or whoever I want to follow, whatever. So I go to the comments and then you reply to those comments, and then because you reply to the comments, it make people like their audience be curious about your profile, and then I just click on your profile and possibly follow you, right?
Correct. So it's responding to those comments where you can add either some other value or share your thoughts or experience, and then you're leaving your own comment as well. So it gives people the opportunity to run off that, particularly if you're getting in there early and you're commenting early, because after 48, 72 hours on a post on social media, your organic reach is done.
Yeah, I mean, I have set the notifications on, but then like sometimes I don't see it like right away. Like for some reason, I don't know. Like I have to literally go to Instagram, so I'll have to look at the notifications more. So okay, Mary asks, is there a way to live stream across multiple platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube at the same time? So Mary, she's asking through Facebook, and then we're doing that right now, Mary. Where I am streaming to I use StreamYard. I don't know what Dino used. Dino can get into it, but I use StreamYard. I paid for the highest version, which is 5 destinations. So it's my Facebook personal, my Facebook business, and my Facebook group 3 there, and then my LinkedIn personal, because apparently LinkedIn doesn't allow you to stream to both business and your LinkedIn personal. It's only one or the other. So I'm only streaming to LinkedIn personal and then my YouTube. So Mary, if you want, I'll message you the link to StreamYard so you can try it out. It's very easy. I love it. If you only stream to one destination, it's free. More than 1 up to 5, you have to pay for it. Yeah. So Dino, what about you? What do you use?
I'm the same, Christine. StreamYard I use, and I've only done multiples across LinkedIn and YouTube, but same. And it's a great platform, Mary, if you want to have a look at it, because you can put in the overlays. So Christine's got her logo. Yep. Where are we? Up here. I can never get that right. But then you can put even further overlays depending on how many people you have and what size camera you want to actually broadcast. So yeah, StreamYard's a fantastic platform to use.
Yep. I love StreamYard. It's like so easy. It's like Zoom, but just for live. Oh, she's like, thank you. Yeah, you're welcome.
Good way to explain it.
Yep. Okay. So actually, no, StreamYard is really good for live stream, but when it comes to sharing stuff, it's not as good. So if you want to share or do sessions, you have to use Zoom. This is, I think, just best for just live streaming, because Zoom, I don't think is very good for live streaming. Like I've seen, and then I don't know, it's just kind of wacky. Like I've seen some people use that. So okay, so I know you also have a podcast, right?
Not a podcast, just this YouTube channel where I share some podcasts where I've been guests on, but I don't do an audio podcast, Christine. I don't have that much time.
I was like, how do you have time to like engage on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on YouTube, on Twitter? Like, how do people have that bandwidth unless like you start like to a certain degree, you're gonna start having to like outsource some of them to VA? Because I know people who hire VA to comment, and I'm like, I don't know. To me, I don't like it because it's like it's not authentic. So I personally don't like it. I want to respond to my own comments. So that's why I told myself I'm only gonna be on 2 social media platform only. So Instagram and LinkedIn, that's it. My Facebook is mainly personal because I don't want to clog my personal page with old business stuff. Once in a while I do, but not all the time. I want to keep it personal. I do have a business page, but it's not like that active as like LinkedIn. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know how you do it, Dino. Like 24/7, like phone ding 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 or something.
It's certainly putting a lot of time into it, but I think you get to the point where you enjoy it. I actually look forward to when I get up, and I'm an early bird, Christine. So I'm glad I'm okay doing a live at 8:30 on a Saturday in Brisbane. I know it's Friday afternoon your time, Friday
Yeah, it
evening.
was. I started at 3:30 p.m. Now it's almost 4 p.m. It's a little bit on the earlier side, so I think some people are still working or something because they're like, "Oh, I'm
They,
still working here."
they may do, but and it's 8:30 a.m. where we started when we started in
Uh-huh.
Brisbane, Australia, and on the east coast of Australia. But I have no issue with that because I'm up at 4 o'clock. But if you were to ask me to go on a live at 10:30, 11 p.m., I probably couldn't do it because I would be falling asleep at the keyboard. So I do go to sleep at that 10 o'clock mark, but I get up at 4 o'clock. So I really look forward to when I do get up. And yes, people are going to say, Dino, do you sleep with your phone? And I went, well, not with it, but it is on the side table next to me. But I love doing that because everybody else in the house is asleep for the next 2 hours when I get up. And I go, that is great. I get to look through my feed, engage, even create content without any distractions.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. So how do you go about content creation? Like, do you plan ahead? Do you like, how do you go about that? Where do you get your inspiration, ideas? What do you post around? And how often do you post?
Okay, wow. There's a lot of questions in there, Christine. I could drag this live on for three days and talk about this.
Okay, so let's just get a high level summary view.
All right. So yes, do I plan it? Yes, but does that plan change probably every day or two? Yes. Okay. So I have an A4 sheet of paper, and I probably have 3 of them on the go. So one is this week, next week, and the following week. And I also have one from the previous week, and that's purely for the analytics of the posts. So I'll go through around, there's the rows or the columns on there with each day, and then I have the posting times that I'm putting out there, the content mix that I've placed on this. I've prepared and actually typed out the physical text, and I've sent that in an email to myself with the heading. So it's Monday morning, and then I'll refer back to my planning sheet. So that goes around engagement time as well. So if that makes up at 5 a.m. to 6 a.m., then that becomes my engagement for that morning. And then there may be another hour that's on that sheet between 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. for the engagement only. And then there's preparation time for the actual content itself. So making videos, particularly if it's off YouTube, so I need to leave an extra 30 minutes to 60 minutes to actually create that. But I'm only doing videos 3 times a week on YouTube. So I'm breaking that out and then investing the other time across social. So where was I going with that? So with those sheets, they creating the content for the week. There's probably 2 or 3 blank spots that I'll leave, Christine. So if there's things that, like we're coming on your live, that I would love to share on my YouTube channel, then I can come to my sheet for next week. I can have a look down to YouTube and to the blank spot, which I'll have on Tuesday. No, actually, Tuesday would be full. It'll be Thursday. I'll go upload Christine's live video, and then that would be my Thursday. And then Thursday night, I would go down to LinkedIn and go share link from YouTube video from Christine's to my LinkedIn and change the text on it. So whilst I'm writing everything, it is all about, then I've got the timing, what time of the day changes from day to day for me around posting, and particularly on different platforms. And then I keep analytics on those sheets. So it becomes really, if anybody picked it up, Christine, they'd be thinking, Dino, you're insane. So I change it.
Let me summarize. So on LinkedIn, do you post just once a day? Then you say different times on LinkedIn, but once a day or a couple times a day?
I do anything from 1 to 2 times a day.
Okay.
So depending on the content that I have, depending on what I'm working on, the projects that are happening, the lives, the podcasts I'm going on, will determine if I go once or twice a day.
Okay.
But again, once works for people, fantastic. Once every second day works. What works for your network? And I look at it from the standpoint, if I was if I was speaking to my partner twice a day and I was on the road out visiting clients, and I'd be ringing her and saying, hey, just checking, how you going? She'd be like, oh, that's nice. He's thinking of me. If I did it another 2 or 3 times, she'd be going, okay, what's wrong? What's going on? And I think if you look at it from the network perspective, it's like, do they want to hear from me 3 or 4 times? If it's just to put on a post going, hey, happy weekend, everybody. It's like, yeah, okay, Dino, we know it's Saturday. All right. What are you telling us today? So I think if you place it on there, if I was ringing my partner twice a day, Christine, one was to say, hey, thinking of you. How you going? I love you, honey, and all of that lovely stuff. And she goes, that's great. And then the second time is, oh, I had to ring you, by the way, whilst you're out, can you grab something because I want to cook X for dinner for you tonight. So there's a reason for that. And I think if you can put a reason towards your post and your content, then I think that's engaging for your network. And that then becomes, okay, Dino's posting, but he's posting, is it going to put a smile on our face? Are we going to learn something from it? Is it going to inspire or motivate us?
Got it.
And there's sort of 4 areas around.
Okay. So Emmanuel, I have a question, but before I get to that, so I've noticed, I think you sometimes share the link, external link on your post, but I thought the guideline was like, what do you think about that? Like, did you see a lower engagement, a lower reach if you put an external link on your post versus on the comment? Like, what do you think about that?
We're talking LinkedIn here, Christine, or all platforms?
LinkedIn, yeah.
Yeah. Listen, a lot of people are saying the algorithm, so I suppose, punishes the native post if you're putting the link in the post itself, because it's supposedly dragging people away from the LinkedIn platform and to somewhere else. So LinkedIn's algorithm will push that down in regards to the organic spread of that post. Listen, I've had mixed views on it. I've placed a couple of YouTube videos that I've placed in the reach, and it's hard to sometimes place them in a comment because I don't get the people clicking on it, and particularly if there's 70, 80, 100 comments and that's not the one with the most likes, then that sometimes gets dragged through and people will lose it. So having a YouTube link makes sense that people click on it and it takes them to the platform. But I've had those posts track very well and get people across to the other platforms of choice, particularly YouTube in that stage, where they can then like, comment and have a look at it. And you can tell, because on YouTube you can pull up the last 60 minutes of live watch views once I post on LinkedIn, and you can actually have a look at that increasing. So it's quite interesting when you have a look at live analytics off the platform. But then there's ones where I've posted links to articles or back into a Facebook or Instagram page in the comments, which have also tracked very well. I think it's now, if you start worrying about what the algorithm is doing and how can I get 500 likes instead of getting 200 likes, or how to get 5 comments instead of 50, I think you're going to start really damaging your brand because you're chasing the wrong things. You've got to be chasing that. How can I share that new information with people? As I mentioned, the smile, motivation, education, inspiration. How do I put that in front of people? Don't worry about the bloody algorithms. I mean, everybody wants that. Wants that pat on the back and go, oh yeah, I got 500 likes. How cool is that? And we all get those little endorphins that trigger those sparks and goes, yay, everyone likes me. It's a good post. It went really well. But at the end of the day, I mean, if you get 500 or 200 and you've helped 190 people out of the 200 instead of 5 out of the 500, then what's more impactful for your audience? So don't get caught up in that. I mean, get caught up in your content.
Got it.
Does that answer the question?
Yeah, I think yes. And then I'm gonna go to Emmanuel. Emmanuel asks, what's the best time to post on LinkedIn? Okay, you answered that, Dino.
Okay. Okay, man. All right. Well, Christine, how about I answer this and then you can answer it as well.
Sure.
So Emmanuel can get 2 different areas. And Emmanuel, this can become different for your own demographic and your own network. Okay, so don't get us wrong. But for me, I find Monday evenings work better, and that's normally between that 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. So Monday mornings seem to be quiet because everyone seems to be jumping into the work week and are too busy.
I'm back at work. I don't want to be on LinkedIn.
I mean, you'll get a little bit of some traction, Emmanuel, when you're doing Monday mornings, but not as much as you would do on a Monday evening. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday mornings or evenings work well. That 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. or that 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. work good, Emmanuel. Friday mornings a little bit later, I'm finding that works well, around that 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Same on the Saturday mornings. And then if I was looking at posting Sunday, I go towards the evening a little bit more. Again, that 7 to 9 p.m. I think people have finished for the weekend. If they've got young children, they've gone to sleep, they've spent time with the family, and now they can just sit down at 8:30, put TV on in the background, put a book out, whatever it is, and stroll through their feeds. But that works for me, Manuel. Have a go, but people that use the platform even better than what I do, because I'm no expert on there, and definitely no expert, but somebody that loves building networks off the community and off the platform. Those times work well for me, Manuel. But Christine, what do you see that works well?
Yeah. So I wanna reiterate, like, so I wanna say that, it all depends on your audience and your followers, because, like, again, like, my followers and then Dino's followers might be different, right? They might be engaged on different times. So I think you have to figure out. I think for me, what's important is that the time zone my target market is the most engaged on. So for me, I do agree. I think Monday morning, I think, people are like, oh, I'm coming to work, I don't want to be on. So but then sometimes, so what I notice is that I don't put serious posts on Monday morning. Serious posts meaning, like, posts about taxes, about what to do with your money. Like, yeah, that's like, it's gonna tank on a Monday morning. Okay. So what I did was that when I post something that I feel good, funny, inspirational, even on a Monday morning, that does well. So I stick to lighthearted, very easy to engage, something that will make someone feel good, that, oh, I'm coming to work and I want to see something just positive. So don't post any serious things or articles or whatever, I think, on Monday. So as far as timeline, so again, stick to the time zone of your target market. So regardless of what time zone. So I think I do agree with you. So for me, I post between 7 to 8 a.m. PSC. That has always been working out for me. And then the reason is that I stick with that is because when I wake up, I usually in bed and then just posting there, and then, like, I'll actually lie on my bed for an hour responding to comments before I actually get out. So that's my daily morning routine, and I just want to get it done. The rest of the day, I'll respond to posts. I post on, LinkedIn, and then on Instagram. Then I'm done for the day with my social posting, and I'll just respond to comment, and then I do networking and other back end stuff the rest of the day. So mornings for me work, and then, like, once in a while I have a second post, but that's very rare. I try not to do that. For me, I don't know, they tend to not do so well for second posts for me. So that's why I try not to do that unless I have to. But that's me again. Doesn't always not the case for everyone. So then, and then in terms of the, I heard, I mean, I don't know if this is true, but then that time zone morning, and then there's the lunch crowd time zone, 11 to
So,
1 p.m. People are eating, and they'll be, like, browsing. So that's also another good time. And then, like, after work, which is like, 4 to, like, even 7 to 9 p.m. So again, it depends. It has kind of long, range. And then I do notice, like, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, yeah, it has to be later during the day. Cause, like, people are like, I think Friday they might, especially with COVID, they're working from home. So they might be like, maybe sleeping in a little bit on a Friday, and then Saturday, of course, they'll be sleeping in. Sunday, they'll be sleeping in. So also do it a little bit more later during the day. I noticed that. So that's on my end. So great question, Emmanuel. Then, okay,
and,
Mary.
and
Oh, go ahead.
just to show how I'm still learning the stream, I just realized that I can even see the live comments on the right hand side. So, Emmanuel,
This is new.
yeah, exactly. So I've just realised that I can click on the live comments and see them as well.
Yep,
So,
exactly that.
Emmanuel, you're welcome, Emmanuel. Hopefully that helped, my friend.
Okay, Mary from Facebook asks, "How do you manage your growing audience to keep it personal?" Okay, Dino, you go first, and then I'll go after.
How do you manage your growing audience to keep it personal? Okay, so Mary, when we're talking about content creation, so I have sort of three areas. Yes, the objective is to make people smile, inspire, motivate, educate. But the three areas that I look at is one of them is a H to H contact. So it's a human to human approach, or a lot of people have called it a heart to heart at the moment. So you can call that a heart to heart. The other area of content that I look on is a driver. And so those drivers are what has gotten me from 20 years ago to today. So those experiences, those journeys, how can you share that in a way where it'll help people along the lines? And one of those drivers has been a divorce that I went through, and a lot of experience that I picked up on that. So I've shared that across social media and across all platforms as well, because there was people that they may be in a corporate world, but I can tell you what, the amount of people that reached out through DMs, text messages, phone calls, male and females, that were going through a divorce, that went, oh my God, I'm experiencing those same feelings. I'm going through that same journey. How did you get over it? So helping people along that was fantastic. Had nothing to do with money. And sometimes people forget about that when it comes to branding. It had nothing to do with making an income. It had to do with making an impact. And there's my content mind, Christine and Mary, when I'm thinking about inspiration, motivation. There's a quote I just came up with. It's not about making an income. It's about making an impact. Mary, can you write that in a comment for me so I can note that down for myself later? But so I've got human to human or heart to heart, driver, and then the last one's about business. But the last one only makes up 10, 15, 20% of the content every week. The heart to heart makes up around that 50%. So they are sharing those journeys, but more on that personal. So even around the divorce, you could probably drive it out, take it out of that driver bucket and put it into the human to human element and have a look at how you can actually share that. But it's all about just casting your mind back, whether you were at work environment or a sporting field or out at a barbecue. If somebody was talking to you about something and you went, oh my God, I actually didn't know that. And if I don't know that, there's probably at least 1% of my network that wasn't aware of it. So how can you share it in your own words? And it's not saying that you're copying what other people are doing. You're just sharing your thoughts on it, because you could Google 99.9% of strategies and content and information and you would find it on Google. But what you don't find on Google is the way people look at things. And that's the beauty of branding. So Mary, hopefully that, thanks Mary, thanks for writing Making an Impact. I have to remember at the beginning, it's not making an income, it's making an impact. Thanks, Mary.
Okay. So Jolene, who's actually my friend, she said, "What do you think of TikTok for growing a business?" Oh yeah, have you tried TikTok? Have you tried? Oh my God, I try to be on it, but I just don't get it. I'm like, these are just people dancing. I was like, what value do we get from here? Like, I just couldn't get into it. So I'm curious to know what you think of TikTok, Dino.
Jolene, I don't have an answer for you because I'm not on TikTok. The only time I've gone on TikTok is my two girls wanted to do a dance recording with me. Which unfortunately they bloody girls, they did post it up on their TikTok, which nobody in my network will be seeing that, I can tell you that. But Jolene, apparently there are great ways to build a business on TikTok. It's not just all about being able to dance and do that. But unfortunately, I can't give any guidance on it because I don't know about it and I don't want to fluff my way through it because I'll sound like an absolute liar. So Jolene, unfortunately, I can't help with that one. But I'm sure, as I mentioned, if you could even Google strategies to grow on TikTok, there'd be some fantastic articles on there. Christine, have you had any experience on that platform?
No. I was gonna say, Jolene, I have a guest. She has a Jade Vincent. She has a 1.5 million followers on TikTok. She will be my guest sometime July. So tune in, and then I'll be creating an event for that. So I'll be asking her how she monetized, how she grown it, and stuff like that. And then actually, my friend, financial psychologist Dr. Brad, he was a guest on my live stream on Memorial Day. So he's actually having a lot of success there. He said that he just approached 100,000 followers, and then and then when you see his posts, like he likes to dance and do like money stuff. So I think he's really into it. And then I was actually surprised watching some of his videos. Like, wow, you're like really into all this. I just can't do it. So it's just not me. I don't know how I can do it, but he's doing a great job. So Jolene, like wait for that live stream on that's coming soon in July. So I'm actually also curious, like how do people monetize on TikTok and what you can use it for, because every time I browse on it, it's just dancing. I personally don't get it unless like I'm just really bored or something, and then I find it entertaining to see people dance 1 minute. It's like I don't get entertained, so it's not for me. Okay, so good question. Okay, so actually, Dino, you're talking about your divorce and stuff like that. So I'm actually very curious about the, like how did you grow up around money? So I want to talk about, how you grew up around money, and then to that point you got divorced. And divorce is very, it's probably very costly, very emotional. So I'm curious to hear your story from, how you raised around money to the divorce. And I've read a story. You did a post about divorce, and I actually found that it was a very good post. I liked it.
Yeah, thanks, Krista. Let me get my tissue ready if I'm going to. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, let me get my tissue too. I have my tissue here as well.
No, it's been nearly eight years, so that the emotional aspect from that it's gone, and thank goodness time plays a big part when we're going through things like that. But the experience around that, Christine, and you just jump in if I'm not going along this right avenue, but yeah, there was a lot of aspects that you need to deal with it. The biggest challenge I had with it was just, I suppose, breaking away from a partner then, and a partner that I'd been married for 15 years, so it wasn't a 6-month relationship. That had a different emotional journey. And once you get through the initial aspect to say, okay, well, I'm going to feel sad, I'm going to cry, I'm going to get emotional, I'm going to get upset, right? We're going to have fights. Until you actually realize that that's just a normal part of a relationship breaking down, where you need to continue dealing with that person, and we need to do that because there was assets, so finances, there was children involved. Then once you come to that aspect to go, oh shit, this is normal, and I need to do this and not shy away from it, then all of a sudden it became a little bit easier. And I'm saying a little bit easier. It didn't go from me crying on the bed on a Saturday night at 11 o'clock to all of a sudden I woke up happy. But it helped in the sense that I could sit down with my ex-wife and we could go through different areas around finances. We could talk about how do we co-parent our two daughters the best that we could possibly can do with them living in two separate households.
Wow.
And once we even both got to that level, that emotional level, then there was no courts involved, there was no lawyers involved. It was purely just us creating the best environment that we could do for our two children. And yes, I understand that's sometimes people are saying, and people came to me and saying, that's not for everybody. Sometimes you just can't communicate. All you're doing is having a go at each other and blasting up and yelling and whatever it may be. And yes, sometimes you need lawyers. I'm not saying that everybody ends up in a perfect divorce, but that was just my journey. But the hardest part of what I was going on that, Christine, the hardest part wasn't the finances, because my point when it comes to money is I can always make more money.
Okay.
And I can make more children. But it was no, that was a joke. It was a sense of not seeing, and I'm close to my two daughters. If anybody has seen them on LinkedIn, even with me, or on Instagram with me, or even YouTube, I'm very close to my two daughters in the sense that was the hardest part of going through the divorce. It was not seeing them from 24/7 to all of a sudden only seeing them 3 days a week or 4 days a week. That's I think is the hardest part for any parent going through a divorce is what do you do with that time when your children are with you? Right? And you need to come to grips with that, saying it's okay that they're having fun with the other family. And I've got my own family now, not other children, but my own partner now. My ex-wife has her own partner who lives with, so we've got our own separate families, and the children are lucky in the sense that their stepdad is a great guy. I get along well with him. Their stepmom, so my partner's fantastic. She loves the girls like I love them. So the girls have two households, but two households in the sense that they're getting a lot from and are building a lot of skills from both of them, which we start looking at that. And those conversations we have with them now are a little bit at the higher level in the sense that, you know what, things that their stepdad can teach them, like let's say he's great on cars and mechanic-wise, and I am terrible with the car, right? So I'd be ringing up the mechanic and say, come and fix it. Yeah. But if he's teaching them some skills, I'm saying great. I'm not looking at that going, oh, my God, he's taking away a job that a father's supposed to do. Because if I'm not an expert in something, why can't someone else teach my children something?
Yep.
And I think taking that, you could call it ego away from you, and all of a sudden saying, well, no, if it's the benefit of my children, then that's fantastic, because no one's going to take away the father figure or the mother figure from them. They're always going to have that. But if they can grow up to be strong, independent women, which they are, and I love that because they've got all strong women around them, then that's all I want for them. The money aspect, did you have a question around the money aspect, Christine? Because that's a whole different area.
Yeah, so you were talking about you can always make more money, right? So now I'm curious, Dino. So like, how do you make money now? Is it through like LinkedIn, through wait, I don't know. Oh, the banner keep going. Okay, yeah. How do you make money through LinkedIn now, through YouTube? Like, what do you sell now? What services do you sell? I'm also curious, like, how do you is your leads coming inbound through LinkedIn? Do you do any outbound? So it's like, so if you can just talk more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've always been in a PAYG employment, Christine. So through companies working with finance and selling on products to mortgage brokers or finance brokers. So I've been in that business development role for the last 7-8 years. Had a break for 18 months where I helped people build their own personal brand. So it wasn't the lead gen strategy around brands. It was getting traction around what to put out, the content, how to actually strategize and plan to get people to visit their profiles and channels.
Okay.
So I did that, and I still do that a little bit on the side. And I know that's where my monetization area of LinkedIn comes through. Is I still have personal brand advisor under my experience, so people contact me, and we spend some time together and create their plan that works for them, because everybody is different.
Okay.
Not everyone gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning. You can spend 2 hours on social.
I don't.
Someone may have 20 minutes a day spare, and that's all they have. So you need to make that 20 minutes work for you. And that's what I was trying to help people. It's all about plugging personal branding into their lifestyle. So I'll monetize LinkedIn a little bit off that. YouTube, I'm working on, if anybody across YouTube that are watching live off YouTube would know, those that aren't maybe don't, but YouTube, you need a minimum of 1,000 subscribers and you need a minimum of 4,000 public watch hours before you can apply to monetize your channel. And then it needs to be approved, and I think it can take up to a month before you get there. So I'm close to my watch hours. So hopefully in the next month or so, I'll be able to apply to monetize that. But again, then you get revenue part on the ads that are played and how long they're played, the views that you get. So there's a whole different monetization chart, which you can look up on YouTube for people that are wondering what that looks like. So that's exciting off a platform where you can get something back for the value that you're giving as well in regards to a dollar figure. But that's not the main driver. I think that's an added bonus if you look at that off YouTube. If people make YouTube their life, I can get why it's a full-time job. Maybe 3 months ago I didn't understand that, but I certainly do. When you spend more time, I get it. So that's how I make the money. And then I've got the ebook that's just been released with my co-author Nero. New personal one, that's just obviously some supplementary income that comes in. And there's a couple of other new projects which I'm working through at this stage, which will be released in the next few weeks. And then full-time employment, because I'm not currently working full-time at the moment, Christine, due to COVID. But there is something in the pipeline that will probably come through once restrictions ease down here in Australia. So hopefully in the next couple of months, I'll be in full-time employment and keep those side projects going whilst I'm doing that. So that's how I keep the lights on.
Got it. So personal branding. So you do personal branding advising, like, for LinkedIn and stuff like that. So where does your clients come from? Like, are they inbound on LinkedIn? Like, how do you find clients now on LinkedIn?
Everywhere. I'm not proactively searching for people because to the point where I start full-time work, I won't be able to spend that extra time doing that. Maybe one here and an odd one there on the weekends is fine. But if there were people just message me directly, there were people that were referred to me from previous clients or referred to me from colleagues or friends that got my telephone number and they were just calling me, going, Dino, I understand you do this. Can I book in 60 minutes and see where we go from there? So we do that. And that, if it's just on LinkedIn, Christine, you can start with everything from let's look at the profile and make sure that's set up perfectly. And then have a look at the content that you're doing, have a look at the analytics of some past performance, see the time you're putting out, what content, and then just mold it a little bit in, and then have a look at that engagement piece as well, the times, how they can keep track of their own brand. So they may book 60 minutes here and then another 60 minutes the following week, and then they get it. So
Got it.
I've always used the analogy, Christine. Do you remember you got a driver's license, Christine?
Yes.
So remember the first time you hopped in a motor vehicle? I don't, that long ago.
You don't want to know how many times I took a driver's test, driver's behind the wheel driver's test to pass. Okay, so it was embarrassing. I finally passed, but it took me a long time because like I had nobody in my family to teach me how to drive. I literally had to pay every time I had to practice. I was like, oh, and then this is like 21-year-old who has like no money. And like,
but we need people to teach us to do something that we don't know. Right? And then once you know it, you don't need that person sitting in the passenger seat anymore. You go do it by yourself, and that's the analogy. And I suppose the strategy I took when I help people with their brands. It's you may only need to talk to me for 2 or 3 hours until you understand it, until you can get it creative for your own lifestyle, and then you can just run with it. right? And
Mm-hmm.
I think that goes with anything in life. Fitness, learning to ride a bike. I mean, I wanted to go learn how to ride a motorcycle because my father-in-law loves motorcycles. He's got 3 in the garage. And he goes, why don't we teach you how to learn? And I'll need somebody to teach me because I have no idea. If I jumped on, I'd probably kill myself.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep.
so all about that, just grab it. And then I would say after 7, 8, 10 lessons, I'd go for my driving my motorcycle test and I'd get it and I don't have to have somebody with me all the time. So
Yep. Yep.
that's the analogy when you have branding. And I
Got it.
think sometimes people look at it, Christine, and go, oh, I'm too embarrassed to ask because people should know about social media. No, they shouldn't because it's different to everybody. It's
Yeah.
not the way I do it, Christine, the way you do it is completely different.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
So there's no
Yeah.
rules when it comes to it. There's just guidelines on what's going to work better for you.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then just like with any coach, right? Like say I don't expect my clients to be here with us all the time. We guide them, so we just teach them how to drive the tools, and then they can go on their own after, hopefully, and not be we don't have to hold their hand forever. So actually, okay, let's talk about personal branding before we end because I know we're almost close to the hour. So personal, what is your definition of personal branding? And then I know there's a question by Mary. We'll go there, but I'm curious. Let's talk about what is your definition of personal branding? What is personal branding? Like, people sometimes get confused by that. It's like how do I build a personal brand? Like what does that mean? So yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I probably have this on my background for all my channels except Instagram.
Uh-huh.
It's
Yeah.
about how do you connect with people in a way that makes them want to hang around you.
Oh,
Right?
okay. That's
So
like
if you think it,
that's like personality. Like, if I like you, I want like so it's like
well,
this is a public personal brand, public personality that make want to hang out with you, right? Okay.
correct. Well, I look at that saying and I try to encompass what social media is all about. And it's about being social, right? Otherwise, it would
Yes.
just be marketing.
Exactly.
It
Yes.
wouldn't be social.
Mm-hmm.
And then how do you do it in a way where it throws out your personality, like you mentioned, Christine? So that
Mm-hmm.
personal brand and that social, it's how do you make
Mm-hmm.
people want to hang around with you in the way that you
Mm-hmm.
connect with them?
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, if that's making people smile, educate, inspire, motivate them. And I had
Mm-hmm.
a term that I came up with that I called it Ubervation, Christine, and
Yeah.
I'm sharing a short YouTube video. Actually, I put it out yesterday on YouTube, so it's the latest one, which explains those 3 parts around education, motivation, inspiration. And if you
Mm-hmm.
just look at those areas on giving people the opportunity to learn from you on those 3 stages,
Mm-hmm.
then they can make up their mind if they like you and they want to know more. Because not everybody is, okay? Not
Mm-hmm.
everybody wants to know more about me. Not
Yeah.
everybody wants to know more about you,
And that's
and
okay.
that's
Not
fine.
every person.
And that's
Yeah, I
fine.
know.
That's fine.
Yep. Yeah.
Right?
You can't be everyone's cup of tea.
Correct. So hopefully that explained how
Okay.
I look at personal branding. It's not always about how much money I can make out of it. As
Got
Mary
it.
wrote down for me before, it's about making an impact, not making an income.
Got
But
it. Got it.
if you want to tackle Mary's question, and hello,
Oh
Summer,
yeah.
and
Yes.
welcome to
Yes. Yes. Let me share her comment. Yeah. Okay. Mary asked, how long did it take to develop your brand before launching it on social media? Years? Did you need to tweak your brand to adapt to changes in social media?
It's a really good question because that one resonates with me, particularly around did I need to tweak my brand on social? So, did I need to work on my brand before launching it on social? I don't think you do. I think you can just run out and launch it. But
Mm-hmm.
if you wanted to have a plan and a strategy on what that's going to look like, then do it. But what I'd suggest, Mary, is once you've been doing it for a month or 2, is reach out to a few people who have been following you or are part of your network across social and ask them to give you some feedback around what they perceive to be your brand.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Put a couple of questions. Say, what do you think my brand is? How do you envisage my brand? What do you score my brand out of 10? What would you like to see more of? And ask 5 or 6 people that aren't your best friends. Okay? So
Yep.
get some real honest feedback. And I'll tell you what, then you'll be able to tweak your brand accordingly. You don't want to tweak it completely because you want to keep your personality, but it'll give you the ability then to learn what other people want to know from you, what other people want to learn from you. Excuse me.
Oh,
The tweak. Sorry, Christine, can I
go ahead.
just tackle that tweaking part for Mary? And again, I have shared this previously, but it was a huge part of my branding objective or my branding goals was I looked at it in the sense that I pushed my brand was all about me and what my company was doing when I first started on this 7 years ago. So for the first few years was all about showcasing what we were doing
Mm-hmm.
and going, hey, giving ourselves a pat on the back and wanting those likes and those comments. And then I got that feedback, Mary, and people were going, hey, Dino, okay, maybe you need to look at this because people aren't engaging with you. People don't want to know every single award you won. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
you need to change the way that you actually deliver that message and deliver it in a way that is creative for the people. So I came up with I flipping the M in the me and concentrating about the we, Christine.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, then I looked at branding around how do I make it more about the people? How can I deliver that
Mm-hmm.
message, that journey, those experiences? And once
Mm-hmm.
I flip that switch and tweak that brand, all of a sudden that's when the real value engagement started coming through. The network started growing,
Mm-hmm.
I suppose, quicker at a quicker rate, and more DMs started coming my way because people wanted to learn a little bit more where previously that wasn't the case. So that was my light bulb moment. But Mary, to your question, go and ask for some feedback, but just start. Just give it a go. That it's your brand. No one's going to tell you that you're doing right or
Yep.
wrong. Just give it a go.
Exactly. Great question, Mary. Okay, so we are already over the hour. So what yeah, so tell Dina, tell people how can people find you, and then like I know you currently have an ebook right now about personal branding, so if you want to talk more about that, and then how can people connect with you after?
Yeah, just briefly on the ebook, Christine, because I
Mhm.
mentioned we
Yep.
have going a while. So that's up on Amazon on all marketplaces. And I wrote that over the last few months with my co-author Nero, who's out of Colombo in Sri Lanka. So Nero's all across personal branding, does heaps of presentations around branding. So he's a guru in that space as well. And so we put together the book's about 62 pages long, but there's takeaways on that book where you could print off certain pages and create your own strategy and your own weekly routine. So that's my favorite part of that book. Um, so that's available. That's on my featured section of my LinkedIn profile. So you can just
Mhm.
click on there and it'll take you to the Amazon site to download. But you can connect with me, as we talked about, Christine, on different platforms. So here on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or as I mentioned on my new baby, if you would like to come and subscribe to my YouTube channel, I do post other videos on there, which potentially only the links may go on other platforms, not native videos. But it'd be fantastic to grow together and talk more about these different areas.
Got yeah. So people and Dino, you already maxed out on connections. So Dino can probably can't accept any more connections. So follow Dino. You know he always provide a lot of value of personal brand, social media. So if you found this live stream pretty valuable, so follow him. And then he posts regularly, as he said. So you can but learn little tidbits here and there. So I hope everyone you enjoy this live stream. Thank you so much for joining. And Dino, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it. I know it's like early in Australia. You still join, and then so. I appreciate you accepting my invitation. So it's an honor, and then thank you so much, Dino. I'll see you around the feed on LinkedIn.
My pleasure.
Okay.
Thank you very much for having me, Christine. Thank you.
Yes. Bye, everyone.